Hello, very good evening to all of you. Uh, Today we are going to discuss the case note of Miss Margaret Helen Martin, 81-year-old lady who had problems with coronary artery disease, and she had a repeat angioplasty, uh, and that's her condition here. Let's go ahead with the case note or a writing task here. So using the information in the case notes, write a letter to, just a minute, I'll get the cursor here. Yeah. Write a letter to the nurse in charge. You're writing to the nurse in charge of the district nursing service outlining Miss Martin's situation. So you need to underline the situation of Miss Martin. That's the first task. And anticipated needs following her return home tomorrow. So she's not discharged today. She's discharged tomorrow. So you are writing the letter today. So the patient is going to get discharged tomorrow. So two things you need to make sure that you have to outline the situation of Miss Martin, and you need to give a brief description of the anticipated needs of the patient. So you are going to write the letter to the nurse in charge, District Nursing Service, Greenville Community Health Care Center, 88 Highton Road, Greenville. So that's it. So let's go ahead and see what exactly the things are relevant here. So the patient name is important, Miss Margaret Helen Martin. She's discharged tomorrow. That's very important. Her age is 81. She is older, an older client. So 15 July is the admission date, and tomorrow she's getting discharged. So about the social history, that no children, and she's living alone. So she does have enough financial support. Now she doesn't have any keen contact with the relatives. So limited social or personal contact is something which is relevant here. Now, let's go ahead and see the present condition is the CAD and angioplasty. So angioplasty is angioplasty is done today. Now, about the previous medical history, she has celiac disease, angioplasty. So something is relevant here is angioplasty was done in 2008. Now, she had some sorts of medicines here. Now, hypertension was there, hypercholesterolemia was there, she's overweight, sedentary. So a lot of things are there. Apart from that, she has hearing loss. She was a hearing aid. All these things are a lot more things are there in the case note. Routine post-operative recovery. She's tolerating diet and fluids, bruising. So something is relevant here. Bruising at the catheter insertion side, but no signs of infection, bleeding, not a post-procedure. But the patient is anxious returning home, not sure how well she coped with the situation because she's living alone and she doesn't have any key contacts with relatives or some what. She was ordering food from outside. All these things make her anxious actually. So now she has a modified dietary pattern. As per the dietitian's review, she has to take a low calorie, high protein, low cholesterol, gluten free diet. And she was advised to have it small and frequent. Now she has to drink plenty of fluids too. Now, about the physiotherapist advice, she or he has advised her to walk 15 minutes, do light exercise like that under the supervision strictly. No heavy lifting for 12 weeks. So now, actually, this is not important here. She's 81 and she's not gonna lift any heavy things like that. Okay. Now, anticipated needs. Now, what is the need of the patient? Need home visit from the community health nurse or district nurse. Now, I told in the beginning the two things that we need to address in the letter. One is the condition of outline the condition of Miss Martin. The second thing is that we need to outline the anticipated needs too. So, what is the anticipated need? Is that she needs a community health nurse or district nurse at her home to monitor adherence to post-operative medication, exercise, and diet. This is her need, actually. So she's concerned about this thing. She needs help in doing this. So, and that the dietitian and physiotherapist should monitor these things and should regularly visit Miss Martin. And the last point, there is a query, the danger of social isolation, infrequent. So she does have limited family support. So maybe she may be more vulnerable to social isolation. This is something which is very important here. Now, let's go ahead with the letter here. Ready-made letter, 15 July 2017. That's today's date. Why you have written today's date, and we have to write that the patient is going to discharge tomorrow. I'm writing to introduce Miss Margaret Helen Martin. I'm writing to introduce Miss Margaret Helen Martin. I am writing to introduce you, Miss Margaret Helen Martin, to request home visit for her in meeting her anticipated needs. Oh, so this is a new patient, so I'm writing to introduce you, Miss Margaret. So I'm going to give you a brief details, some sorts of brief details about Martin. And I'm going to request regular home visit for her in meeting her anticipated needs. And what happened to her is she is recovering after an angioplasty and is being discharged tomorrow. It's not discharged today. She's being discharged tomorrow. Miss Martin was admitted to our care today and has undergone the aforementioned procedure, that's a coronary angioplasty, after being diagnosed with coronary artery disease. So she had been diagnosed with the coronary artery disease, and that's why she has undergone the aforementioned procedure. Post-operatively, her overall progress was marked satisfactory, except some bruises at the catheter insertion site. So now that the overall progress of Miss Martin was satisfactory, except some bruises at the catheter insertion site. So after the angioplasty, how was her condition? At our care, she was reviewed by a dietitian who advised her small amount of low calorie, high protein, low cholesterol, and gluten-free diet at frequent intervals. And by a physiotherapist who recommended light exercise with supervision. So this is what we have seen in the first paragraph. A lot of things are there in the case note, so we have selected some things very keenly. And there may be disputes here, so whether to add this thing or that thing. So I'm not into that, but as far as the procedure, I have concentrated on the procedure. We have said that the procedure is done after being diagnosed with the disease. Post-operative, the condition was okay, except these problems. After the procedure, dietitian and a physiotherapist saw the patient and made modification with the diet and recommended exercises with supervision. And this is very concise things, which is very relevant. You may have optional inclusion here. Definitely you might have, but mind the word count too. Miss Martin lives alone and has limited personal contact. She has been under regular treatment for hypocholesterolemia, hypertension, and had an angioplasty in 2008. She has also hearing issues and is overweight. So she did have celiac disease, all these things. So that's a past history, and that's not right now. She is not suffering with celiac disease, and it's no that much related to coronary artery disease. What is related to coronary artery disease? We have included that. So that is hypercholesterolemia, hypertension, angioplasty, all these things we have. Now we have said something. She also has hearing issues at wait. Now the nurse is going to care the patient. So the nurse should understand that she has problem with hearing, and the nurse should understand that the patient is overweight too. So that's why we have included that. So very relevant things. So we made it brief again, the paragraph. There you can see that the after the purpose paragraph, the paragraph is a little bit bigger, and the next paragraph is a little bit smaller. So I did have some problems in managing the size of the paragraph, but we don't have any other option here. We need to include such things there. It would be appreciated if you could arrange home visits for Miss Martin to monitor her medication compliance and wound side. For any signs of infection. So Miss Martin should be monitored for her medication compliance. So home visit should be arranged for her in order to do that and to monitor the wound site for any signs of infection. Now we have to encourage her plenty of fluids and arrange regular visits from her dietitian and physiotherapist. She has a dietitian and physiotherapist, so regular visits should be encouraged by them for them, and that plenty of fluids she needs to have. If not, she is at risk of social isolation because of infrequent family connections. We have not included that in the social history, that family connections. So I just mentioned has limited personal contacts. So you can say, yeah. Yeah, so I can cut short. Miss Martin lives alone and has been under regular treatment for hypertension, hypocholesterolemia, and had an angioplasty in and had an angioplasty in 2008. She also has hearing issues and so. So I have canceled the personal contacts there. We have already mentioned here in that towards the last paragraph, the infrequent family connections. So in one place, it's enough in one place. That's why. If you have any further queries regarding Miss Martin's condition, please do not hesitate to contact me. Yours faithfully, it is written. Yes, we don't have the name of the addressee, so we have written yours faithfully, registered as cardiac unit, Greenville Public Hospital. So I hope you have digested the letter. So we have a lot of problems here. The first problem is the discharge. The discharge is tomorrow. You're writing today. The thing is that you have to include a lot of things here about the past medical history, social history, and her habits, that I have not included what type of food she eats right now. Um, this is because she had been ordering food from outside. Why I have not included that is because right now she cannot uh, blindly order such things. That you have to strictly follow a dietary regimen as per the advice of a dietitian. So the dietitian has ordered uh, low calorie, high protein, low cholesterol, and gluten free diet. So this is to be taken in small amounts, and it is to be taken at frequent intervals. So that we have to make adjustment with the diet. So this is something very relevant with the nurse who is visiting Miss Martin. So I cannot say that she had been taking food from outside. No, she cannot order right now. So this has to be monitored by the nurse. So she's going to do that as per the dietitian's order. That's why we have not mentioned that how she was taking. It's the future after the discharge, what type of diet she is going to take. That's important that we have written. That's it. Hope everything is clear to you. Thank you. Have a nice day.